So we have our bow stave down to the point where we're just barely floor tillering a little bit. We're a little bit thicker down here still. We thinned it down to about a 1/2 inch down here in both of the ends of the limbs. So I have a bow form here. All this is a rough cut 2x. I taken and I've shaped where I want this to be. Now I did have this clamped in here for a couple of days, and the beauty of it is it was able to get most of that propeller twist out of there. Now when you're trying to dry these staves, it's not a bad idea to weigh them, especially if you don't have a good feel for what it should feel like as you're drying it. But if you weigh these guys, when they stop losing weight, you're at least acclimated to the surroundings that it's at. Now a lot of bowyers, they say they want to get down around 6% moisture. I've never had a moisture meter on any of this stuff. I've just gone to where I have, you know, where it kind of holds its shape and doesn't take a set or any of that, you know, doesn't form, but it takes quite a bit to do that. So anyway, we're going to get this formed up. We're doing just a little bit of a reflex down towards the outer tips a little bit. The way we're clamping this, we've kind of maintained the natural reflex, which would be the bending. It'd be the bending towards the back of the bow, towards the outside a little bit. So that'll help that thing go back to shape every time we shoot it. Anyway, to get you close up, I'll show you what we're doing. So this part of the process is actually pretty easy. I'm not worried about clamping the middle so much right now. I'm more concerned about getting these tips where I want them. So what I'm going to do is clamp this down tight. I'm going to take my handy dandy squeeze clamp. You can see I've cut a notch in right here. That helps keep your clamp in one spot. And we're just going to very gently try to flex this down. Now as you're doing this, really pay attention. Make sure you're not splitting anywhere or cracking along this limb. You just want to go nice and easy with it. And I'm not going super far either. I'm not looking to do any major stuff. Now this is the part where you can run into trouble, so really keep watching this, and it helps to do this when the wood's still a little wet. And I think that's about as far as I really feel like going with that. Now check this clamp there, make sure we're nice and tight. We're going to go down to the other end and we're going to do the same thing. Same thing, we're just going to very gently work it down. And I'm going to check, make sure I have it kind of even. And no, you don't need clamps this long to do this. I'm being lazy, I didn't feel like running downstairs for more. So I want to get a couple clamps in the middle, and that'll help kind of get this whole thing straightened out. Because once I clamp these limbs down on the other end, it kind of wanted to roll the whole thing. So just with that kind of on there, you guys can see it. That's what we have. So I want to check, kind of make sure that my gap on this side is kind of the same as the other one. That'll show that I've gotten any twist out of it. That's pretty darn good. And then on to the next step. This is going to be a short one because this is actually a pretty quick process. So all we're going to do, we're going to hang it over the wood stove. I was going to do a hot box for this video, but I honestly I like this method a little more. It's a little quicker. And to be honest with you, it's only going to be, it's going to have a chance to, everything will have a chance to kind of settle out a little bit better. The reason I say that is because when I'm not out here, the stove isn't running, so this will have time while I'm out here to dry a little bit, and then it'll have time to acclimate so I'm not drying it out too quickly. And no, I did not need quite this much 550 cord to do this. Yes, I am quite aware of how Mickey Mouse this looks. But believe it or not, it works. And part of the reason it works halfway decent is that most of my heat is actually over the thickest part. So that kind of makes it a little better. Can't get this side up a little better. There we go. There's your redneck hillbilly bow drying. So I'm quite aware of how goofy this looks, how Mickey Mouse this looks, but it works. I run the shop stove when I'm up here anyway. Now, the only reason I can kind of get away with this, if I was running this stove 24 hours a day and I had that thing over top of it like that, I'd probably end up ruining that stave if it had too much moisture in it. Lower the moisture content, obviously, the less it's going to dry out, less chance of cracking. Now, we did seal the end grains up with some wood glue. Just put a little film on both ends. That'll help it keep it from drying it out too fast. The other thing, this form board I put behind here is green. It's wet. So the thought for me is a little bit of moisture against the back of the bow might help keep it from drying out too fast. And the other thing is I have the thickest part of the bow stave over the hot spot. It's still getting some heat out here on the ends, out on the limbs, but not a ton, so that'll help it dry out a little bit slower. Now, this stave, being as how I cut it in the summertime, it's been drying since then. It's got a lot of the moisture out, but we have to get it the rest of the way before we really get into start tillering. Now, we'll end up fire hardening the bow on the belly of the bow, and that's going to help these grains because hickory isn't as good as in compression as some other woods, but if you fire harden it, it works quite well. And we're also, like I said, most likely we're going to end up backing this bow a rawhide. And if we do, that'll help make a big difference to stiffening everything up. Hickory is a beautiful wood. Shagbark hickory is a beautiful wood for this. You can do a lot with it. You can get away with a lot with it. It's very forgiving. It's a very forgiving wood for this process. And it's also very strong. I have no compunction making this bow and taking it hunting as long as we get our feet per second halfway decent. And that's what we're going to go for. So anyway, kind of a short video. Kind of not very well organized for sure. But that's a lot of my stuff we put out. But I want to kind of keep you guys going on the process of what we're doing. So this is where we're at. I'm going to let this go a few days. What's going to be nice with this, I'm going to go in after I get the wood chips off the floor around the stove so we don't burn this place down. When this fire dies out, this stops heating up. It gives it a chance to acclimate. It's a lot more of a gentle drying than some other methods when you're trying to speed dry them. Some people take these things, put it in their vehicle in the middle of summer all day, every day, just because it gets so hot in their vehicles, and that's how they quick dry their staves. Obviously, this is not the right time of year for it, so this is what we're going with. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.